Taking it back over to Mike, we're going to talk a little bit about kitchens and baths and some of the hacks and some of the things you can do to mitigate costs, but also put a great product out there. Because at the end of the day, that's what most important for an end buyer and for an investor to have a good quality project.
All right, kitchens. So kitchens are one of the most important things in a house. Obviously, the functionality of it is very important. One of the things I see most often is the dishwasher hits the cabinet on the other side of the countertop, or there's not enough room to get by. I generally, when we have like an island or an L-shaped kitchen or a left-right kitchen, meaning cabinets are across from each other, I tend to always leave 42 inches minimum. If I can get 48, it's a little bit better, but minimum 42 inches. It gives you a nice walking space around the kitchen. As far as islands, what islands are concerned, most cabinets are 24 inches, they're 34 and a half inches tall. In order to have an island that have bar stools at the other side, you need a minimum of at least 10 inches. Obviously, the more that you get, the more comfortable it is, but the more that you cantilever that granite out above it, you start to weaken it. So, or it starts to become weak from, somebody, God forbid, a kid stands on it or an adult. You could break that granite. So we actually install concealed brackets on the underside. They're probably 4 foot long, solid piece of steel, and then it helps keep that piece of granite up without actually looking at anything. Another thing with kitchen cabinets, if you're building a investment property, the bigger the cabinet, the more money it is. So generally cabinets come in 30 inches tall, all nominal sizes from 9 inches to 42 inches wide, and then the heights go from 30 inches to 39 to 42s to 48s, and then they go into custom, or what they do, double stack, whereas they get a 30-inch cabinet and they add another 12-inch cabinet on top of it to create that larger look. Obviously, more cabinets, more money. Most of the cabinets that we use today are prefab cabinets. They're solid wood boxes, which are plywood, solid wood fronts. Slow closed drawers, slow closed doors, meaning that you can't slam the door and you can't slam the drawer. More of the custom cabinets are 3/4 inch plywood or 3/4 inch solid wood, and then the fronts are made of maple, cherry, oak, or poplar, and then they're stained or painted.
So if you're an investor and you're doing a rehab, this is a custom home that we're looking at, so you're going to have a higher end finish. But if you were going to rehab a project, like you do a lot of rehabs for yourself and for other folks, what do you recommend to guys?
You try to give if it's an investment property or a flip, so investment property, you want to give them as much as you possibly can in a small area. So you want to make sure that you have your microwave, your dishwasher, your stove, and your refrigerator, but you still have enough cabinet space that, if it's a 1-bedroom apartment, a single person can use, or a 2-bedroom apartment, you have enough cabinet space. A lot of times what I see is that these investors with the rental properties is they think that they're moving in there and they make the kitchens too big, but there's no rate of return on adding additional cabinet space. It also drives your price of your build up.
You teach guys hacks on tiling, so 12 by 24s on the floor, and maybe spend a little bit money on backsplash because it's a smaller area.
So backsplashes are generally 18 inches tall from the top of the countertop to the underside of the cabinet. So you can spend a little bit more money because it is a smaller space. I would say the average backsplash size is maybe 20 to 25 square feet. So you can spend a little bit more money on the tile. It's not going to take the abuse as much as a bathroom floor tile or shower floor tile or shower wall tile. When it comes to investment properties, I try to steer people away from any kind of natural stone. It just doesn't hold up, it stains, it's natural, so the water does permeate through. And try to go with a polished ceramic tile. It just will last forever, it's easy to keep clean. Keep your grout joints small. That way, if you have a turnover, you can have a cleaning company come through and get it looking brand new. As far as the different types of tile, the larger the tile, it used to be the larger the tile, the easier it is to set, until they started making tiles that are 48 by 48. So generally I tell investors to try to stick between like a 12 by 24. It sets faster, there's less grout joints, there's less dirt, and it still has that modern look. that people are going for.
So I recently did a rehab. I had Mike come in and do the floor, and a couple things that he did the whole rehab. So a couple things that I did to reduce costs was I used a 30-inch cabinet, which Mike mentioned. I used 12 by 24 tiles on the floor. I didn't go crazy on the vanity. I used a Glacier Bay toilet for $100. And then I had Mike really where I spent the money was on behind the walls. So making sure the plumbing was right, making sure the electric was done correctly, making sure the HVAC was done correctly. These are all issues that I didn't pay attention to when I was a newer investor that I spend and find extremely valuable when working with a Grit or a Mike when we're putting together a rehab project.
So, real quick about the investment properties. Here in Philadelphia, we have a law that's a lead law. If you have an investment property, it has to be lead free. Any house built after 1978, I believe. So what happens is a lot of investors come to me and say, listen, I only want to replace part of this. This is going to be rental. It's a 3-bedroom. I want to put a family in here. And I immediately say that, that may be fine, but you have to certify this building is lead free. And one of the easiest ways to do it is just do a full gut rehab. You're basically, when we're finished, you're getting a brand new building with inside a old brick facade. So the plumbing's new, the electric's new. It's all brought up to the IBC code, the NEC code, the plumbing code. There's literally nothing to go wrong on a project like that. So, it's just, if you start with doing things the right way from the beginning, you'll just end up with a great product at the end and something that's hassle-free.
Love it.